What happens when a Hollywood superstar walks onto a live daytime talk show and refuses to play along with the usual answers? Make sure to subscribe to the Star Talks and like and comment for more talk show coverage. The studio audience is already buzzing as the cameras return from commercial. The hosts are seated, coffee mugs in hand, and the energy feels slightly elevated because the next guest has a reputation for being quick-witted. The crowd starts clapping before the introduction even finishes. Joy Behar leans toward the microphone with a smile. Well, let's see what all the excitement is about today. The applause builds as Reynolds walks out, waving and smiling, dressed casually but polished, clearly comfortable in front of cameras. He shakes hands with the hosts, hugs a couple of them lightly, and waves to the audience. Whoopi Goldberg nods warmly. You're very popular in this building. Ryan laughs. I try to keep my popularity in controlled environments. Audience laughter. Sunny Hostin adjusts her notes. That sounds strategic. Ryan takes a seat, crossing one leg over the other. Everything is strategic. Even this chair feels strategic. Joy leans forward. Oh, don't start. We just got here. More laughter from the audience. The conversation begins with light topics, his latest film project, his production work, and how he balances acting with business ventures. Ryan answers smoothly, acknowledging his team and giving credit to collaborators. Alyssa Farah Griffin asks about public perception. You're known for humor. Do you ever feel like people don't take you seriously because of it? Ryan nods thoughtfully. Sometimes. Humor can be a shield, but it can also be a bridge. It depends on how you use it. The audience murmurs approvingly. Joy interjects with a grin. Or sometimes it's just a way to avoid answering the question. The audience laughs, sensing the playful tone. Ryan smiles back. That's possible. But I'm here. That already feels like commitment. The tone remains friendly, but the conversation begins shifting when Sunny brings up a recent interview clip where Ryan commented on the entertainment industry's political influence. Sunny says, in that clip, you suggested celebrities should be careful about speaking out unless they understand the full context. Some people felt that was dismissive. Ryan leans forward slightly, hands folded. That's not what I meant. I was saying that everyone should be informed. If you're going to speak, make sure you've done the homework. Joy raises an eyebrow. Homework? We're not in school. Audience chuckles. Ryan responds calmly. Public influence comes with responsibility. That applies to all of us. The energy tightens slightly. Whoopi watches carefully, letting the exchange unfold. Joy doesn't let it go. But sometimes people use responsibility as an excuse to silence opinions they don't agree with. A few audience members clap in response. Ryan nods slowly. I don't think anyone here is trying to silence anyone. But I do think there's a difference between an opinion and misinformation. There's a noticeable shift in the room. Some audience members clap again. Others remain quiet. Sunny jumps in. So are you saying entertainers shouldn't engage in political discussions? Ryan shakes his head immediately. Not at all. I'm saying if you engage, do it thoughtfully. That's it. Joy leans back in her chair, arms crossed lightly. Well, that sounds easy when you say it like that. But in reality, people have strong opinions. Ryan responds with a slight smile. Strong opinions are fine. I have them too. But I also expect to be questioned about them. The audience reacts with a mix of applause and murmurs. Whoopi steps in smoothly. That's what we do here, question things. Ryan nods. And I respect that. Joy tilts her head. Do you? Because earlier it sounded like you were suggesting entertainers should stay in their lane. Ryan looks at her directly, but still composed. I never said that. I said be informed. If you're informed, speak. If you're not, maybe listen first. The studio grows quieter. The tone has shifted from playful to focused. Joy responds, slightly sharper now. So you think people who disagree with you are uninformed? A ripple moves through the audience. Ryan immediately raises his hand slightly. No, that's not what I said. I'm talking about preparation, not agreement. Alyssa tries to ease the tension. It sounds like this is more about approach than ideology. Ryan nods. Exactly. Joy glances at the audience, then back at Ryan. Sometimes when celebrities say be informed, it feels like they're saying agree with me. Ryan smiles briefly, but his tone remains steady. That's fair. But I promise you, that's not my intention. Whoopi leans in. So let me ask you directly. Do you think celebrities have too much influence? Ryan pauses for a moment. The audience waits. I think everyone with a platform has influence, he says carefully. Not just celebrities. Anyone with social media does. The responsibility isn't about fame, it's about reach. Some applause follows. Joy nods slowly but continues. But when you're that visible, your words carry weight whether you intend them to or not. Ryan responds, absolutely. That's why I choose words carefully. The conversation feels intense but controlled. No one is shouting. It's the kind of disagreement that happens on live television when strong personalities collide. Sunny adds, some viewers might see this as you defending a neutral stance. Ryan looks thoughtful. Neutrality isn't always avoidance. Sometimes it's just trying to understand all sides before reacting. Joy smiles slightly. That's a diplomatic answer. Audience laughter breaks the tension briefly. Ryan laughs too. I've been accused of worse. The energy softens again, but there's still an undercurrent of disagreement. Whoopi glances at the audience and says, we're having a conversation, and that's what matters. The audience applauds in agreement. Joy leans back, tapping her pen lightly. Okay, let me ask you something directly. If someone strongly disagrees with you on a political issue, are you comfortable debating them publicly? Ryan nods without hesitation. If it's respectful, yes. I think debate is healthy. Joy responds quickly. Even if it gets uncomfortable? Ryan smiles slightly. Especially if it gets uncomfortable. That's usually where you learn something. The audience reacts with applause again. The atmosphere is now fully engaged, not hostile but energized. The hosts exchange glances, aware that the discussion has real weight. Whoopi concludes the segment's direction by saying, well, this is what talk shows are for. Ryan nods. I agree. Joy gives a small smile, though her posture remains confident. We'll see if you still agree after the next segment. The audience laughs, sensing that the conversation isn't finished yet. The camera pans across the panel as they prepare to move forward, and the tension hasn't exploded, but it's definitely there. The discussion has shifted from casual promotion to real ideological exchange, and both sides are standing their ground calmly. As the segment wraps up, Ryan leans back slightly, acknowledging the room with a polite nod. Joy glances at him with a look that says the debate is far from over. The applause fades as the show transitions, leaving viewers aware that something more substantial just happened on live television. Not a fight, not a meltdown, but a real, unscripted disagreement between two strong voices. And the conversation is only just beginning. The show returns from commercial, and the energy in the studio feels slightly different. The audience is still engaged, but there's a sense that what just happened is now being processed. Ryan is sitting upright, hands folded loosely, while the hosts glance at their notes. Whoopi smiles at the camera. We're back, and we're continuing our conversation. Joy turns toward Ryan. Before the break, we were talking about influence and responsibility. Ryan nods. Yes. Sunny leans forward. And whether celebrities should speak out. Ryan responds calmly. Not just whether they should, but how. Joy interjects immediately. But some people feel like when you say how, it sounds like a rule. A few audience members react with light applause. Ryan shakes his head slightly. It's not a rule. It's context. There's a difference. Alyssa asks, so what would context look like? Ryan thinks for a moment. If I'm going to speak about something complex, I should understand the history, the facts, and the perspectives involved. Otherwise, I risk oversimplifying. Joy leans back, crossing one leg. But isn't that true for everyone? Not just celebrities. Ryan nods. Exactly. It is. That answer draws applause from part of the audience. Sunny follows up. Some critics say entertainers can use their platform to amplify important causes. Ryan agrees. And they should if they care about them. I'm not arguing against that. Joy tilts her head. Then what are you arguing? The room quiets slightly. It's not confrontational, but it's direct. Ryan responds evenly. I'm arguing for accountability. If you're going to speak publicly, expect to be questioned. And be prepared to answer thoughtfully. There's a murmur in the audience. Whoopi nods. That's fair. Joy looks at the audience, then back at Ryan. Some people might say that sounds easy coming from someone who's used to interviews. Ryan smiles lightly. It's easier said than done for everyone, including me. That response softens the room a little. Alyssa shifts the conversation slightly. Do you ever worry that your humor makes it harder for people to take your serious statements seriously? Ryan laughs softly. Yes, that's always a risk. Joy jumps in with a grin. See, that's the problem. Audience laughter. Ryan responds quickly but calmly. It's not a problem, it's a trade-off. Humor opens doors. Sometimes it also confuses the message. Sunny leans forward. So how do you decide when to be serious? Ryan replies, when the topic matters, when it affects people directly, and when I feel I can contribute something meaningful. Joy nods slowly. That sounds responsible. Ryan smiles. That's the goal. There's a brief pause, not awkward but reflective. Whoopi turns slightly toward Joy. You seem skeptical. Joy shrugs lightly. I just think sometimes celebrities say the right things in interviews, but it doesn't always translate into action. The audience reacts, some applause, some murmurs. Ryan listens carefully before responding. That's a fair concern, and I think accountability shouldn't stop at interviews. It should show up in behavior. Sunny raises an eyebrow. Can you give an example? Ryan nods. If I support a cause, I try to support it consistently. Financially, publicly, and privately. Not just in headlines. The audience applauds more strongly now. Joy leans in again. But some people might argue that consistency doesn't change the fact that influence can shape opinions. Ryan answers without hesitation. Influence is powerful. That's why it should be handled carefully. That doesn't mean it shouldn't exist. The studio grows attentive. The conversation has become less about disagreement and more about philosophy. Whoopi interjects gently. Let me ask something simpler. Do you feel misunderstood? Ryan pauses, considering. Sometimes. But that's part of being in public. Joy nods. We all get misunderstood. Ryan looks at her. Exactly. And that's why conversations like this matter. A few audience members clap again. Sunny flips through her notes. Earlier you mentioned misinformation. Some people might interpret that as criticizing media consumers. Ryan responds carefully. Not at all. I'm talking about everyone, including myself. It's easy to share something without verifying it. That responsibility doesn't belong to one group. The tone in the room steadies. It's clear the exchange hasn't turned personal, but it has been intense. Joy smiles slightly. Well, I appreciate that you're not afraid of disagreement. Ryan returns the smile. I wouldn't be here if I was. Audience laughter. Whoopi gestures toward the crowd. They seem engaged. The audience applauds loudly in agreement. Joy looks at Ryan directly. Let me ask you one last thing for this segment. If someone on this panel strongly disagrees with you, would you walk away from the conversation? Ryan answers immediately. No. I'd stay and talk. The audience reacts with applause. Joy nods once. Good. Because we're not done. Ryan laughs lightly. I didn't expect to be. The camera pans across the panel as the energy remains active but controlled. There's tension, but it's productive tension. The kind that happens when strong opinions meet on live television. Whoopi glances toward the producer's cue and says, We'll continue this after the break. As the show transitions, Ryan sits back in his chair, still composed. Joy exchanges a brief glance with him. Not hostile, not friendly either, but respectful in a way that suggests the debate has real substance. The audience continues murmuring as the lights dim slightly for commercial. What began as a light promotional interview has now become a thoughtful public discussion. Viewers at home can feel that something genuine just unfolded. Not a dramatic meltdown, but a live exchange where neither side backed down. And when the show returns, it's clear the conversation may take an even deeper turn. The show comes back from break, and the studio feels even more attentive than before. The audience is settled, phones down, eyes forward. The conversation has clearly struck a chord. Whoopi adjusts her mic. All right. We're back. Joy looks toward Ryan. Still with us? Ryan nods with a small smile. I haven't moved. Audience laughter. Sunny leans in. Before the break, we were talking about influence and accountability. But I want to go a little deeper. Ryan nods, signaling he's listening. Sunny continues. Some viewers might feel that when celebrities speak about serious issues, it can overshadow experts who work in those fields every day. There's a subtle shift in the room. The audience quiets. Ryan responds carefully. That's a valid point. Experts should lead conversations about their own fields. I don't think celebrities should replace them. Joy raises a hand slightly. So why speak at all? Ryan doesn't hesitate. Because platforms can amplify experts, not replace them. A few audience members clap. Whoopi nods approvingly. That's an important distinction. Joy leans forward. But amplification doesn't always happen. Sometimes it becomes about the celebrity. Ryan agrees. That can happen. And when it does, it distracts from the message. Alyssa interjects. So how do you prevent that? Ryan replies, by directing attention back to the issue, not the personality. The audience murmurs in agreement. Joy smiles slightly. That sounds ideal. But in real life, it's messy. Ryan nods. Absolutely. It's messy. The tone remains firm but respectful. Sunny looks at her notes. Some critics say entertainers benefit from public attention, so they should expect public scrutiny. Ryan responds evenly. I agree completely. Scrutiny is part of the job. That earns applause. Joy watches him carefully. You say that confidently. Ryan shrugs lightly. It's true. When you step into the public space, you accept feedback, positive and negative. Whoopi turns toward the audience. That's not easy for everyone. Ryan adds, it's not easy for me either. The audience reacts with appreciation. Joy tilts her head. Let me challenge you on something directly. Ryan nods, calm. Go ahead. Joy continues. If someone says your comments earlier felt dismissive, would you reconsider how you phrased them? Ryan doesn't react defensively. If people felt dismissed, then yes. I'd want to understand why. The audience responds positively. Sunny follows up. So you're open to adjusting your language? Ryan replies, always. Communication is about clarity, not ego. A brief wave of applause. Whoopi smiles. That's a good line. Ryan laughs. I'll take it. The tension has softened slightly, but the debate is still active. Joy leans back, crossing her arms again, though her expression is more thoughtful than confrontational now. Sometimes these discussions get framed as arguments, but maybe they're just differences in perspective. Ryan nods. I think that's exactly what this is. The audience claps. Sunny adds, and disagreements don't have to be hostile. Ryan agrees. They shouldn't be. Whoopi glances at Joy. Do you feel heard? Joy pauses briefly, then says, I do. Even if I don't agree with everything. The audience applauds at that moment. Ryan turns slightly toward Joy. And I respect that. There's a brief moment of mutual acknowledgement. Not agreement, but understanding. Alyssa smiles. This is what people want to see, real conversation. Whoopi nods. Exactly. The energy in the studio has shifted from sharp debate to reflective dialogue. It hasn't lost intensity, but it has gained balance. Joy looks at Ryan again. You're pretty comfortable in these situations. Ryan laughs softly. I've learned to be. Audience chuckles. Joy adds, well, not everyone handles pushback that calmly. Ryan responds, pushback is useful. It keeps conversations honest. Sunny nods in agreement. Whoopi leans back slightly. It seems like the real takeaway here is not whether you agree, but whether you're willing to talk. Ryan says simply, yes. The audience applauds more strongly now. The discussion begins transitioning toward closing thoughts, but there's no sense of unresolved conflict, just an exchange that stayed focused. Joy gives Ryan a final look, half playful, half serious. You survived. Ryan smiles. I wasn't trying to survive. I was trying to participate. Audience laughter and applause. Whoopi raises her eyebrows. That's a good way to put it. The segment winds down, and the cameras capture the panel's relaxed but engaged expressions. The conversation hasn't ended with a dramatic win or loss. Instead, it's ended with mutual acknowledgement that disagreement can exist without disruption. As the show prepares for the final segment, the audience is still energized, reacting to what felt like a genuine exchange rather than a scripted moment. And it's clear that whatever happens next, the conversation today has already left its mark. The final segment begins with the studio lights slightly warmer, the energy still engaged but calmer than earlier. The audience is clearly aware that the conversation today has sparked something beyond a typical promotional interview. Whoopi looks into the camera. We've had a thoughtful discussion today. Joy nods. Yes, we have. Ryan sits comfortably, attentive, hands resting together. I appreciate the conversation. Sunny leans forward. It's not often that debates like this stay respectful. Ryan responds, it should be the standard. Audience applause. Alyssa adds, people watching at home might have strong opinions about what was said. Joy smiles slightly. They always do. Whoopi turns to Ryan. Before we wrap, any final thoughts? Ryan pauses, choosing his words carefully. I think conversations about influence, responsibility, and public platforms are important. We don't have to agree to respect each other. And disagreement doesn't mean disrespect. The audience applauds warmly. Joy looks at him directly. And I'll say this, Even if we didn't align on every point, it's better to have the discussion out loud than to avoid it. Ryan nods. I agree. There's a brief shared smile, not dramatic, not scripted, just acknowledgement. Whoopi addresses the audience. That's what we try to do here every day. Applause grows louder. As the segment transitions toward closing, the atmosphere is noticeably reflective. The earlier intensity didn't turn into a meltdown or shouting match. Instead, it became a real-time example of public disagreement handled within boundaries. The camera later captures brief backstage moments as the show concludes. Producers are seen speaking quietly with the hosts, and Ryan is seen shaking hands with crew members, thanking them. Joy and Ryan exchange a final handshake on set, cordial, brief, and professional. No lingering tension, just completion. Later that day, clips from the episode begin circulating online. Social media reacts quickly, as expected. Some viewers praise the discussion for being respectful yet direct. Others debate whether the hosts challenged the guest enough. Comment sections fill with opinions, clips, and timestamps. The exchange becomes a trending topic, with viewers replaying specific moments and analyzing tone rather than conflict. Several posts highlight how both sides stayed composed, noting that it felt like a real talk show debate rather than a staged confrontation. Others focus on particular lines that resonated with them, especially comments about accountability and influence. Within hours, the conversation expands beyond the show itself. News outlets summarize the segment, emphasizing that it was a policy-focused discussion rather than a personal clash. The framing across coverage centers on dialogue and differing perspectives. After the show, neither side releases dramatic statements. Instead, interviews and comments remain measured. The tone stays consistent with what viewers saw on air, direct conversation, not escalation. Back at home, viewers discuss it with friends, share clips, and debate interpretations. Some agree strongly with Joy's concerns about influence. Others align with Ryan's emphasis on preparation and accountability. Many say they appreciated hearing both sides without interruption turning into chaos. The episode ends up being remembered not for humiliation, but for the intensity of a live debate that stayed grounded. On camera, the final moments show the panel standing, smiling toward the audience, thanking viewers for watching. The applause is sustained, not because anyone won, but because the exchange felt authentic. As the credits roll, the takeaway is clear. Live television works best when disagreement is handled with composure, clarity, and mutual respect. And that's exactly what happened today. If you enjoyed this talk show breakdown and want more real, authentic coverage of moments like this, share your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the Star Talks for more real talk show stories.